blessed moment to our fellow believers in the Messiah. We are grateful to the Creator of heaven and earth for this day that is filled with His love and mercies. Through His Son, the Good Shepherd, He has caused us not to be in want. He makes us lie down in green pastures and leads us beside the still waters. He restores our souls. He is the one that leads us in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. When we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we do not fear any evil, all because of His power and might. He is always with us. His rod and His staff comforts us. The Good Shepherd prepares a table before us in the presence of our enemies. He anoints our head with oil to the point where our cup runs over. Surely His goodness and His mercy will follow us all the days of our life, and in His house we will dwell forever. Amen. Steadfastly, we continue to focus on what the Creator is doing in our time, so that, while applying ourselves to His principles and commands, we may have our testament in our time. In today's lesson, we want to highlight how the Almighty Creator expects believers to treat animals. As believers, we were commanded by the Almighty Creator to have dominion over every living thing. This is highlighted in Genesis chapter 1, verses 27 to 28, where it states, "So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him. Male and female created He them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." This command meant that all living things were now in the care of mankind. Man is to ensure that the environment needed by all living things to survive remain intact. Having dominion does not mean abuse. In Proverbs chapter 12, verse 10, it states that a righteous man regards the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. The righteous has the love of the Creator in his heart, which is extended towards all of creation. So he ensures that his animals are well cared for. If abuse is taking place to any kind of animal, then the abuser is now in the category of the wicked. It must be noted that killing an animal for food is not cruelty. Remember, we are permitted by the Creator to eat certain animals, and the only way to eat them is to kill them properly first. The killing process should not be torturous, but swift. These animals also have emotions, and they do feel pain. Animals that are not used for food are used for other services such as carrying loads, protection, and so on. As it relates to the emotional state and loyalty of animals, let's look at an incident that took place between the prophet Balaam and his loyal donkey. Numbers chapter 22, verses 21 to 33. "And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass, and went with the princes of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his 2 servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way, and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass, to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in a path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side, and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself unto the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further, and stood in a narrow place, where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with a staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a sword in mine hand. For now would I kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, Am not I thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, Nay. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And he bowed down his head, and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me, and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee, and saved her alive. Many times, the emotions and behavior of these loyal animals are misunderstood, which end up causing them to be mistreated. Sometimes these animals are truly saving us from impending dangers. Let us look at some direct commands that the Almighty Creator gave as it relates to the care of animals. Where food was concerned, His people were instructed not to muzzle the ox when he treads the corn. Can you imagine the torture that ox went through? Not being able to taste that corn that it was so faithfully preparing for you. This is highlighted in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 4, and Leviticus chapter 25, verse 6 to 7. It also states that, And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourns with thee, and for thy cattle, and for the beasts that are in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. In order to ensure that the bird's population did not decrease, the Almighty Creator said, If a bird's nest happens to be before thee, in the way in any tree or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young. But thou shalt let the dam go, and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days. This is highlighted in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verses 6 to 7. When it comes to animals working together, the ox and the ass must never be allowed to be yoked together when they plow the field, as highlighted in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 10. Seeing that these 2 animals are different in body structure, temperament, and where strength is concerned, the ox would most likely be doing most of the work, putting an enormous amount of strain on itself, doing work that was designed for 2 oxen. Finally, when it comes to rest, the Sabbath day does include rest for animals as well, as highlighted in Exodus chapter 23, verse 12, where it states, 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. It was also emphasized in Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 14, where it reads, But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. Thanks for listening. We truly hope that this lesson was a blessing to you, and that it has inspired you, as believers, to properly care for the creatures that the Almighty Creator has made. Remember to share this message with a fellow believer. Encourage them to subscribe to our channel for other inspiring lessons. Have a blessed day.